Hey there, if you're watching this you're probably staring at a list of spotting scopes and wondering whether you're about to waste a few $100s on something that won't actually help you in the field. I get that hesitation. You want a piece of gear that will hold up in rain, show you clear detail at a distance, and not turn into a paperweight after a weekend of hunting trips. The Sig Sauer OSCAR8 2755 by 80mm is marketed as a tactical hunting monocular, but does it live up to that promise for someone who actually spends time in the woods? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, and I'll walk through the real-world considerations that matter before you click Add to Cart. First off, let's talk about the core design. The OSCAR8 uses a Schmidt-Pechan prism, essentially a compact way to flip the image right side up while keeping the overall length short. That gives you an angled eyepiece, which means you can look through the scope without having to crane your neck over a straight-through tube. In practice, that's a big comfort boost when you're perched on a blind or a tripod for an hour or more. I've tried both a traditional straight-through spotting scope and an angled monocular on a ridge during a sunrise hunt. The angle meant I could keep my head up, stay warmer, and avoid the stiff neck that usually follows a few minutes of looking through a long tube. The magnification range 27 to 55 sounds impressive, but the real question is how usable that power is at typical hunting distances. In an open prairie setting, 55 can actually deliver a crisp silhouette of a moving deer at 300 yards if the atmosphere is clear. The downside is that at that extreme, even a tiny amount of heat shimmer or low light can make the image look wobbly. For most bush hunters who operate within 200 yards, dropping back to the 27 or 35 settings yields a smoother, more stable picture. So the scope gives you the option to push the envelope, but you'll probably spend most of your time in the lower half of the range. Now, let's dig into the coatings. Sig says the lenses are treated with a SpectraCoat broadband anti-reflective layer. In the field that translates to less glare when the sun is low and better color fidelity on a misty morning. When I set the scope up on a foggy lake, the image retained a natural green hue rather than turning washed out, which is exactly what you want when you're trying to spot a white-tailed deer against a backdrop of reeds. The trade-off is that the coating is not a fully multi-layer, high-end design like some $2,000 birdwatching scopes, so you'll still see a faint ghost of the sun on very bright days. If you hunt in bright open fields most of the season, that ghost can be a mild annoyance, but it's not a deal-breaker. Weather resistance is a headline that many manufacturers love to boast about, and the OSCAR8 really does hold up. The housing is machined from aircraft-grade aluminum, sealed, and rated as waterproof and fog-proof. I took the scope out after a heavy downpour, snapped it onto a tripod, and the internal optics stayed dry. No condensation appeared even after an hour in sub-zero temperatures. The included neoprene cover is a thoughtful addition. It adds an extra layer of protection for transport and helps keep the scope from rattling against your pack. The only practical weakness here is that the scope's weight, while light for its size, still adds a few pounds to your load. If you're an ultralight backpacker, you might prefer a smaller 30mm unit that weighs half as much, even though you sacrifice some magnification. Speaking of a tripod, the OSCAR8's rotating collar lets you pivot the monocular without taking it off the mount. That's handy when you're shifting from a static spot to a moving position. Just twist the base and you're good to go. In my experience, the collar is smooth but a bit loose at the extremes, so you need to lock it firmly before you start scanning. It doesn't snap back like a click lock on higher-priced models, but the trade-off is a lighter overall build. For someone who plans to set up a permanent blind platform with a sturdy tripod, the slight looseness won't be a problem. For a quick-draw hunter who wants a set-and-forget rig, a tighter lock might be preferable. Who should buy this? If you're a serious hunter who wants a versatile, medium-sized monocular that can double as a tactical spotting tool for longer-range work, the OSCAR8 fits the bill. It's especially attractive for those who already own a tripod or are comfortable using a handheld mount. The angled eyepiece, decent magnification range, and weatherproof construction make it a solid companion for multi-day excursions where you'll encounter everything from early morning mist to afternoon heat. The inclusion of the neoprene cover also means you can toss it into a bag with other gear without worrying about scratches. Who should skip it? If you're a birdwatcher who needs ultra-high resolution at shorter ranges, there are